Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. So it's the first time in a while I've actually done a tier list on the channel. I mean, I can't remember the last time I did one of these, but I thought it'd be really interesting to do one for a lot of different symphonic metal albums. You know, this has become one of my favorite genres, certainly in recent years. And I've done rankings for the classic bands and for some of the newer bands as well. And we've got a whole host of albums here. You can see at the bottom, 17 in total. And I'm going to be placing these into the different tiers. Of course, this is how tier lists work. I'm sure you guys all know how tier lists work. And I'll be mapping each one of these albums to four different levels, four different tiers. We've got symphonic perfection, which is obviously where all the albums I hold in especially high regards are going to go. All my true favourites, the ones I think are pretty much symphonic perfection, are going to go into that tier. And then the rest of the tiers I think are pretty self-explanatory: excellent, good, and meh. Obviously, the meh tier is the one where, the albums I don't like so much are probably going to go in there. And I'll try and fill out the tiers as much as possible. I'll try and get as a good a balance as I can, but I haven't thought about this too much in advance because I don't want it to be too prepared and too scripted to really make me kind of think about each album in turn and where instinctively I think I would place these. So I'm going to start with Within Temptation's Enter, which is very much a gothic style of record. I mean, think of Theatre of Tragedy in the 90s, think of Serenia, which are going to come up later in this list. Sharon is using a very high register for her vocals, and I feel like for some people that'll work, for some people it won't. I mean, for me, I prefer her voice as she got kind of later in her career with the band, and you had albums like The Unforgiving. Obviously, I'll get to probably, that when we get to like fourth or fifth or whatever symphonic metal albums. If I do more tier lists like this, which maybe depending how this does, I might do more kind of tier lists of second, third, fourth, fifth albums and so on. But yeah, I think this is a good album. It's a really good album. It's grown on me quite a bit over time. I love the title track Enter. I think it is. It's a grower, this one. When I did my original Within Temptation ranking, I think this was pretty near the bottom. But actually, over time, I have come to really like it. I'm not sure if I'd put it. I certainly wouldn't put it in symphonic perfection. I do think it's a little bit unrefined and not super tightly arranged, although it's very doomy, so it's quite a slow burn record. Is it excellent or good? I think it's one of those two tiers. I'm going to put it in good, but it's still growing on me. I still feel like this gothic album of Within Temptation could yet become an excellent record on this. So I put it in good, but with that possible caveat that it could change. Next up is Epica's The Phantom Agony, and what a fantastic album this is. I'm going to say right off the bat, I think this is at least going into excellence here. I think the only thing that could hold it back from going into symphonic perfection is that it does have these quite long spoken word segments, like the Tony Blair spoken word bit. I wasn't very keen on myself, and I do feel the album is perhaps therefore not always super fluid. But it boasts some fantastic compositions. Simone uses operatics more in this album than she has done on some other records where she's just kind of much more singing kind of more of a clean rock style. But on this album, she really goes on the classical side of things, which I think works fantastically well. Mark Jansen, of course, coming in. This is his first album. Obviously, it's Epica's first album, him coming out of After Forever and really showing what he can do here, I think, with that freedom that he maybe had with Epica and joining forces with Simone, created some absolute magic on here with songs. I mean, I particularly love the title track. I've got the album here. I love Run for a Fall. I love Cry for the Moon, which is a popular one they play live. Yeah. So basically, Epica's The Phantom Agony is going in excellent. Now, next up, we've got Night Wishes, Angels Fall First. And this might upset some people, to be honest. I like to be honest, though, with my opinions on these things. Otherwise, there's really no point in me doing these kind of videos. They're for entertainment as much as anything else and for, our joy of sharing music. But for me, Angels Fall First is not a great record. I feel it is very raw. I feel Taya is yet to kind of really kind of shine as she would on later records. I mean, I'm a massive fan of the Taya era. Don't get me wrong. Actually, Taya's era is still probably my favourite of Nightwish. Um, but Angels Fall First, I just feel is very raw. It's kind of the songwriting is still being getting to the standard it would on later records. I feel I do like some tracks on here like Elven Path, which is kind of very power metal-esque. I love the power metal style of this record actually, but yeah, overall it's really not for me. I think it's going to be the first album that goes into the Met tier. Next up, I've got After Forever, Prison of Desire. Very solid album. I think that's going to go into good. I could almost put it in excellent, but for me, it's a little bit angular. Again, not super cohesive. I'm not so keen on the structure of this album, although I do know it is some individual songs are great. I mean, Semblance of Confusion, for example, and this is Mark Jansen's. This was when Mark Jansen was in the band. You can hear Epica all over this album at times. It's quite complex with its arrangements. You can see where he was trying to go, maybe with his symphonic metal vision at that time. But yeah, it's a good album. But I probably wouldn't put it into any of the tiers above it because I've just never really gotten into this one fully. Next up, this Sandria debut is a bit of a dark horse. This is the next one. This is called Kill the Sun. I think this is pretty great, actually. It's almost bordering on sort of alternative metal, really. It's not less a bit less of a symphonic sound, but I think it's really good. I mean, you got like the title track. I mean, I personally love Ginger on this one. I think that's an amazing song. Casablanca's really good too. I could almost put this, in fact, I might just do that. I might put this in excellent. I think just because it deserves a little bit more attention than it gets. And I think, Sandra are one of these bands in symphonic metal that kind of I feel like they get pushed to one side a lot. They've got some really great stuff in their discography and are worth checking out. And Kill the Sun is actually, I think, a very, very good album. It could almost be between the two tiers of excellent and good, really, to be truthful, but it's going into excellent. Next up, I'm going with Visions of Atlantis' first record, which was called Eternal Endless Infinity. And to be honest, I think this is going to be another one that is going to go into meh. I never really liked the vocals on this album, particularly the male vocalist Christian Stani. Just don't really, I can't really get on board with those with the singing on this record. It's not too bad in terms of songs. I think it's got some quite good tunes on it actually, but yeah, I think this one's going to go into there. I just I can't really get into this one because I find the vocals a bit tricky to listen to. Although Nicole Bonia, I do think, was it Nicole Bonia? Nicola Bonia? I mean, she sadly passed away, didn't she? And after the first phase of the band, that was when they later onboarded Clementine, who is an awesome singer, I think, for Visions of Atlantis. But yeah, I do like some of their earlier albums with Nicola. I should say, yeah, Nicola Bonia. I think they're quite good. But yeah, no, sorry, Nicole Bonia. Nicole Bonia. Next up is Lunatica's debut record, and I think that this is another one of those debuts where they were yet to really find what works for them best, I think, although it's still quite good. It's still pretty good. But Fables and Dreams, I think that was the next album. The second album was fantastic, and so I think it's going to go into good this one. I don't think it's quite meh. I do think it's actually pretty good. But I feel they kind of found their real strengths and the sort of that symphonic sound and the power metal sound that came on the next record was just for me was better both compositionally, melodically. This album is still good, like I say, but it's probably not. Yeah, it's not anything particularly special for my money. Next up, we're going for Nemesis and Mana, and we have the first album here, which I think, first of all, this is a massive dark horse in symphonic metal. I mean, hardly anyone knows this record, right? It was before they went down a more alternative metal route. A lot of the kind of symphonic metal bands did this. They kind of either started symphonic and went gothic or alternative, or they started gothic or alternative and they went symphonic. So Nemesis kind of were the other way around. They were symphonic first with this record, this Mana album, their debut. And I just think this is a wonderful album. It's so good. I think it's got, melodically, it's really captivating. And I feel like it's got some really good songwriting on here. Is it Threefold Return? I think that's a great song. Threefold Law. Um, Angel in the Dark, Lucifer, and the Four Mortalities parts. You guys know, if you know this album, you know how good it is, I think, probably. I mean, personally, I think it's absolutely fantastic. It's going to go in perfection. Next up, I've got this Therian record, which, isn't really symphonic metal, it's death metal. It was before they became symphonic metal, so they're a bit unique because they started out as death metal and went to symphonic metal. I can't think of too many bands that did that much of a change, at least from death to symphonic kind of pure symphonic style. But it's pretty it's all right. It's all right. I'm torn because a part of me isn't so much into this kind of a sort of raw death metal sound, I guess, but for what it is, it's quite good. Okay, I think I'm going to put it into good. I'm going to put it into good. Next up, we've got Leaves' Eyes with Lovelorn, and I think that this is pretty brilliant, this album. It is Liv Christine, who had come from Theatre of Tragedy, and she joined forces with Alexander Krull, who he's been in Atrocity, and he is still in Leaves' Eyes. Liv Christine no longer is in Leaves' Eyes, but at this time they were a songwriting pair, I think, and absolutely fabulous album. This, I mean, it's gothic, but it's kind of enchanting. It is sort of, you know, Liv Christine is using that theatre of tragedy kind of style that she has with her singing, and that sort of high register once again that I sort of mentioned with Sharon earlier on with the Within Temptation debut. But it's just got kind of like, that kind of a sound once again, like the Norwegian Gothic metal of theatre of tragedy. But it's done to such a high level, I think, and the writing is excellent. I've got some songs here that I think are fantastic from this record. You've got like Ocean's Way, The Dream, and Into Your Light as examples. So yeah, that one's going into. I think it's going to go into excellent. I almost put it in perfection then, but I'm not sure it's quite perfect. But I mean, it's pretty close. It's pretty close. In fact, maybe if I'm going to do this properly, I'll put it above the Xandria and just below Epica. Next up, we got Serenias of sixes and sevens. This might be a little bit of a hot take because I know that many would put this in perfection. For me, I just find it a bit one tone in the way you kind of hear lots of the same chords from song to song, and it sort of just kind of plays out a bit in that way. But for me, I love all the vocal moments of this album. I do like the gothic style. I just feel like it's just kind of got that one tone. But love the singing on here. I love the vocal melodies, and those parts really stand out to me on tracks like I think it's Meridian. You've got On the Wane. You've got the title track is fantastic on here. So it almost is perfection. To be fair to you all that really love this album and you're hardcore Serenia fans, I get it. But for me, I think I'm going to put it in excellent. I do think it's really good, but not quite perfection. Next up, we've got Beyond the Black. So we're moving to some modern bands now. This is where we get to the modern bands. Like they kind of deliberately done this. So we've got now like all of the bands that are much more from recent years that I feel pretty much all of these bands deserve a heck of a lot more attention than they get, personally. But anyway, so Beyond the Black, Songs of Love and Death. Now, I think that this is good. I think it's fairly simplistic. I do think that Jennifer's a great singer, and her vocal power is always going to be a strength of every one of those Beyond the Black records, as it has been. Sometimes the simplicity is almost too simple for me and can get a bit repetitive in terms of the songwriting approach and structures of the songs, but it's still good. It's still fun. It's still catchy. So I'm going to put the Beyond the Black one in the good tier. Next up, we've got Ad Infinitum's Chapter 1 Monarchy. I mean, this is, I think this is their best, personally, or possibly their best next to Chapter 3. I did rank it very high in my modern symphonic metal discog ranking, my ranking from last year. So I think you won't be surprised. I'm almost, yeah, do I put this in? I think it's going to go to top of excellence here. I'm not sure it's quite perfection again with this one, but the writing is top notch here. The power metal sound of the band is very much there. Lots of people kind of don't like albums like Abyss as much because they kind of lost the power metal sound. But I mean, this is fantastic. Melissa's amazing on here. Melissa Bonney, the singer. She has done a recent solo record that's very good as well, worth checking out if you've not checked out the Melissa Bonney solo album. But yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I've got it on CD here actually. Let's just get some of the songs because I love some of this stuff. I love Marching on Versailles, Fire and Ice, personal favorite song. Perhaps my favorite song from Ad Infinitum period is Live Before You Die. Adore that song. Okay, that moves us on to Everdawn. And this Everdawn album is Cleopatra. And of course, I always talk about how much I enjoyed the interview with Alina Gavrilenko, the singer, a couple of years back on the Symphonic metal series I did back in 2024. And, this is really fantastic, actually. I think it was in my top 10 on my modern symphonic metal albums list. I almost put it higher because it is really good, and I'm starting to like it as much as I like Phanera, if not more now. When you have an opener like Ghost Shadow Requiem, I mean that opening song might just be the most like underrated album opener ever. I mean, Alina is just her operatic singing in that song is so good. I mean, she is amazing, I think, and I'm biased because I thought she was so good in that interview, but I know that she's a really great person, so I am biased. But I mean, listen to this. I mean, just listen to this album. It is really brilliant. I kind of want to put it in perfection. I want to put it in perfection, but I'm not sure it is quite perfect. But it is, she is fantastic. I like the keyboardist in this band a lot, Boris as well. He's awesome. He does some great, interesting keyboard work with them. That kind of makes them sound a little bit proggy as well. But yeah, awesome record. I've got this recently actually on CD, and I think I've got, yeah, here it is. I mean, it boasts, yeah, like I said, the opening track is incredible. Ghost Shadow Requiem. I mean, if you don't listen to anything else, listen to that opening track, Ghost Shadow Requiem. Absolutely awesome. But Your Majesty's Sadness is a really good one. I think I like Lucid Dream quite a bit. Rider of the Storm's a really good one towards the end. I mean, it's fantastic, but yeah, I don't know if it's quite perfection. I think there are a few moments on here where I'm not quite as keen, but it's so close to perfection. It really is. Putting it right at the top there of that tier anyway. All right, so that moves us on to Elvalon Until Dawn. And this is another one I've got on CD, actually. And this is perfection. This is incredible. Nelly Messerschmidt, I think is the name of the singer. And she, on this album, she kills it. And she absolutely kills it with her operatics and her singing on this. It's unbelievably good. And then the arrangements are also interesting. A lot of symphonic metal it can become a bit predictable, but this album right here, which is on my tier list, is anything but predictable. It's really dynamic. It's exciting. At times it's moving. At times it's emotional. Everything you could want from a symphonic metal album with the classic sound, yet really good writing. It's kind of still you know, its arrangements are interesting enough to keep you in for the entire ride of this record. It's kind of magical, it's enchanting, almost that old Nightwish sound. But I think that Nelly, her voice is kind of authentic and unique too. So yeah, this is perfection. And yeah, absolutely. I might even put it above Mana. I think that this album is that good from 2018 actually, I think just don't miss it. I mean, if you have any like of the genre at all, if you're any way inclined to symphonic metal and you don't listen to Elvalons Until Dawn, I do think you are sleeping on a masterpiece. You're sleeping on a masterpiece. So wake up, and your homework from the Green Man for this week is to check out that Elvalon record if you don't know it. Of course, you don't have to. I can't force things on you. I can't force things on you guys, but yeah, I just love that album. So next up is Shatterheart, an album I reviewed recently. This is Shatterheart's Infernal Symphony. And I think this is another album. We're getting a lot of albums in excellence here. This is another one that's going to go into excellence. Check out my full review. Won't talk about it too much here. I love the vocals of Elika Kostopoulou on this one. Her singing moments do stand out a lot. I do think it has some solid tracks as well. I mean, the title track is amazing. I mean, we've had a lot of great album closers this year so far. Certainly, Shatterheart, I think I can include in that category of having great album closers. The title song is awesome. Night Child as well, banging track, worth checking that one out too. That was a single. And lastly, Empress with Fate Weaver. And again, I got to interview Barbara Blackthorne, and I have wondered when their second album is coming out because I thought from talking to Barbara it might be quite soon back then. That was 2024, and I'm sure she was talking about coming out fairly soon. So we're in 2026 now, so I'm a bit worried about whether or not we'll get another album because this debut record is another masterpiece. It belongs with Elvalon and Nemesis, I think, in that top category of symphonic perfection. It's just tracks like Monarch, I mean, evoke, sort of a real kind of inner power and strength in the way that Barbara sings that, and the lyrics are amazing too. And she talks to me, I remember, about writing the lyrics of that song, and this has got other great songs on here as well. I mean, it is just a top notch some newer symphonic metal record again that I recommend you check out. It's kind of proggy, it's very progressive and a bit power metal inclined as well at times. But interesting record once again, and a great one for fans of the genre who want to hear something new or something different from your classic, Nightwish, Within Temptation and Epica kind of stuff. So yeah, that's it. That's my tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Do drop a like and a sub if you're new to my channel and you want more content like this. If, as I say, if there's enough engagement with this and you guys want it, or anyone really wants this, wants to see a second video and symphonic metal, maybe second or sophomore albums, as you might call them, I might do that next up. But otherwise, for me on the channel, it is bye for now.